Writing well may be an art, but the truth is there are 5 basic steps every writer can take to get from an idea to a solid piece of writing that communicates effectively on the web. Let's take a look at each step. Step 1. Define your audience and your goal. Step number 2. Research. Step number 3. Outline. Step number 4. Draft. And finally, step number 5. Revise. To define your audience and your goal, get out a sheet of paper and write down who you're writing to and what you want them to do with the information you're going to give them. It might help to picture what you think your audience looks like. This step may seem silly or unnecessary, but the truth is who you're writing for affects everything from the way you organize your writing to the words you choose. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Example number 1 is a student. Example number 2 is a blogger. And finally, example number 3 is an employee. The second step in effective writing is research. Unless you're writing an opinion piece, you probably need to do research. Basic online searches can give you a good feel for your topic, but you'll probably want to check out an online library or two, or even take advantage of a three-dimensional library. During the research process, write down everything about your subject that seems important to you. It doesn't matter whether you use pen and paper, a social bookmarking service such as Delicious or Diigo, or some other system. The important thing is to become so familiar with and so knowledgeable about your topic that you feel confident and eager to write about it. Unfortunately, the word outline is right up there with tax return for most of us in terms of the emotions it evokes. But what we're after here is different. With your research fresh in your mind, just read through your notes and see if you can find a way to organize your material in a way that makes sense to you. Don't worry about doing an official outline complete with Roman numerals and perfectly indented subheads. The point of this step is simply to get down on paper a clear plan of what you want to write about it and the order you plan to write about it in. Writing an outline like this one will save you tons of writing time later. For most writers, the draft stage is the most fun. There's no wrong way to do it. With your outline as a starting place, just start writing. Fast. Don't think, write. Ignore punctuation, spelling, and fancy sentence construction. The point of this rough draft is simply to flesh out your outline and get as much about your topic down on paper, or in a word processing document, as you can. Now that you've got a rough draft in place, the real craft begins. Revision is the point where the rubber meets the road, the point that separates good writing from mediocre writing. The first or major revision, also called rip and shred, is where you fill in holes and reorganize or even delete entire sections of your material. The second stage of revision, called the tune-up, is where you go through your copy line by line to see if you can improve the way you're saying things. Here is also where you want to place a who, what, and why at the beginning of your material. Finally, there's the third revision. The purpose of this revision is to polish your writing, to correct misspellings, to cut jargon and words that are too fancy for your audience, and to tweak any sentence or word you feel could be just a little bit better. To recap, let's take a look at the 5 steps of effective writing. Step number 1, define your audience and your goal. Step number 2, conduct research. Step number 3, create an outline. Step number 4, write a rough draft. And finally, step number 5, revise by doing a major revision, a tune-up revision, and a polishing revision.